Welcome to The Mystery Files. Get ready to dive into a world of intrigue and suspense. This playlist is a collection of chilling tales that explore the unknown. From mysterious disappearances that leave us wondering what happened, to eerie UFO sightings that ignite our imagination, and even hair-raising encounters with serial killers, each track will take you deeper into the shadows. So, dim the lights, settle in, and let the music draw you into the captivating stories of the Mystery Files. Are you ready to uncover the secrets? One of the most enduring unsolved mysteries in American history is the disappearance of the Sodder children in 1945. This case is perplexing and has captivated true crime enthusiasts for decades. The Sodder family lived in Fayetteville, West Virginia. George and Jenny Sodder were Italian immigrants who had settled in the United States. They had 10 children, and on Christmas Eve in 1945, the family was preparing to celebrate the holiday together. However, that night would end in tragedy. Around 1 a.m. on December 24, 1945, a fire broke out in the Sodder home. George and Jenny, along with 4 of their children, managed to escape the flames. However, 5 of their children, Maurice, 14, Martha, 12, Louis, 9, Jenny, 8, and Betty, 5, were trapped inside. Despite frantic efforts to rescue them, the house was engulfed in flames, and the children were never seen again. Firefighters arrived quickly, but the house was already destroyed, and the remains of the children were not found in the rubble. Initially, authorities declared the children dead, but George and Jenny were unconvinced. They believed that their children might have survived. There were several peculiar circumstances surrounding the fire that fueled their suspicions, including, despite the intensity of the fire, no remains of the children were found. The family believed that they would have discovered at least some bone fragments if the children had died in the fire. The Sodders reported that several days before the fire, they had received strange phone calls and a man had been seen lurking around their property. They also noted that their phone line had gone dead just before the fire, which raised alarms about potential foul play. In the months following the fire, George and Jenny Sodder received multiple reports that their children were seen alive in different locations, including a passing car and even a nearby town. Determined to find their children, George and Jenny Sodder erected a billboard along Route 16, displaying photos of their missing children and offering a reward for information. The billboard remained for years, attracting attention and keeping the case alive in public discourse. Over the years, several theories emerged about the fate of the Sodder children. Some suggested that they had been kidnapped, possibly by a group that had a grudge against George Sodder, who was outspoken about his Italian heritage and had expressed anti-Mussolini sentiments during World War II. Others believed that the children had been taken in by a family wanting to adopt them, while some speculated they might have perished in the fire, but their remains were never found. Despite extensive efforts to investigate the disappearance of the Sodder children, the case remains unsolved. George and Jenny continued to search for their children for decades, never giving up hope. On January 1, 1969, George passed away, followed by Jenny in 1989, but the mystery of the Sodder children endures, leaving many questions unanswered. To this day, the case remains one of America's most infamous unsolved mysteries. While the disappearance of the Sodder children remains one of America's most haunting mysteries, another unexplained event captured the attention of the nation just a few years later. In 1964, a police officer in New Mexico encountered something extraordinary, something that would become known as the Lonnie Zamora incident. What did he witness that day? And how did it change the way we view the unknown? Let's dive into this chilling encounter. On April 24, 1964, Lonnie Zamora, a police officer from Socorro, New Mexico, encountered an unidentified flying object in a remote area south of the town. This incident has garnered significant attention due to its credible witness, physical evidence, and the subsequent investigations by Project Blue Book, making it one of the most compelling cases in UFO lore. While pursuing a speeding vehicle, Zamora heard a loud roar and saw a flame in the sky, prompting him to abandon the chase to investigate what he thought might be an explosion at a nearby dynamite shack. As he approached the site, he observed a shiny, egg-shaped object approximately 150 to 200 yards away. Initially believing it to be an overturned vehicle, he soon realized the object was unlike anything he had ever seen. Zamora described the craft as having a smooth, whitish surface resembling aluminum, shaped like the letter O. He observed two small figures in white coveralls near the craft, who seemed to be working on it. Just as he was trying to make sense of the situation, he heard a roar and saw a blue and orange flame beneath the object, which then rose swiftly into the sky and disappeared. After the craft took off, Zamora examined the landing site, where he found two oval depressions in the ground and scorched vegetation, providing tangible evidence that something unusual had occurred. The case was investigated by Project Blue Book, the U.S. Air Force's program for studying UFO reports. Investigators collected evidence and interviewed Zamora, who remained consistent in his account of the event. His reputation as a law enforcement officer lent credibility to his claims. Over the years, various explanations have been proposed regarding Zamora's encounter. Skeptic Stuart Campbell suggested that what Zamora witnessed was likely a mirage of the star Canopus, while others speculated that he may have seen a lunar landing device being tested by personnel from the nearby White Sands missile range. Some skeptics, including Philip J. Klass and Robert Schieffer, argued that the incident might have been a hoax perpetrated by students from New Mexico Tech. Sterling Colgate, then president of the institution, supported this theory, claiming that the observed object could have been a candle in a balloon, indicating a lack of sophistication in the supposed prank. Schaefer pointed out that the idea of a student hoax shifts Zamora from being an active participant to a victim of deception, which he found more plausible. The incident captured the attention of the media and the public, contributing to the ongoing debate about the existence of UFOs and the nature of unexplained aerial phenomena. Zamora's experience became a touchstone for discussions about credibility and UFO sightings. The Lonnie Zamora incident remains a notable example in the chronicle of UFO encounters, characterized by a credible witness, physical evidence, and a multitude of explanations ranging from the plausible to the absurd. While skeptics have offered alternative interpretations, Zamora's steadfast account continues to intrigue both believers and skeptics alike. The case raises essential questions about the nature of reality, the limits of human perception, and the possibility of the unknown, maintaining its place in the annals of UFO history as an enduring mystery. While the Lonnie Zamora incident opened our minds to the possibility of extraterrestrial encounters, the next story takes us back to the dark realities of human nature. Imagine encountering a danger so close, yet so hidden. This is the chilling tale of a young girl who unwittingly finds herself in the crosshairs of a serial killer, lurking in the shadows of her seemingly normal life. Lacey Jones still remembers the day she moved to Mesa, Arizona. It was New Year's Day, 2005. In the dead of winter, she was unprepared for the heat that hit her like a wall as she stepped out of the car. She had never experienced weather like it, the sun beating down relentlessly. But she was excited to start her new life, to leave the chill of winter behind. Lacey had rented a house with 3 other girls in an unassuming neighborhood. It was perfect, close to work and school. They spent the first few weeks settling in, exploring their new town. But then, Lacey started to hear the rumors. A serial killer was on the loose, preying on vulnerable women. They called him the baseline killer. She tried not to let it worry her, but it was hard not to think about it every time she walked alone at night. Lacey liked to run, to clear her head after a long day. She would often go out at twilight, the sky still light, but the stars starting to come out. It was her time, her chance to be alone. But the rumors of the killer made her nervous. She would look over her shoulder, her heart pounding if she heard a strange noise. Lacey tried to tell herself she was being paranoid, but she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. One morning, as she was leaving for work, her neighbor stopped her. He looked shaken, his face pale. He told her that his dogs had woken him up the night before, barking at something in the backyard. He had gone out to find a man standing there, an African-American man in black. The man had said he was just passing through. Lacey's neighbor was shaken, and his words sent a chill down her spine. Their house backed up to a canal, with a 6-foot brick wall around the backyard. The only way in was to climb the wall or come through the gate. The man's presence seemed deliberate, menacing. Lacey tried to push the feeling of unease aside, but she couldn't shake it. She decided to check around the outside of the house to see if she noticed anything off. That's when she saw cigarette butts on the front porch, and none of them in the house smoked. In the back, the light was shattered. Checking the gate, she found it broken, slightly ajar, and they always kept the gate locked. She felt a wave of fear wash over her. Lacey propped a heavy metal pole against the gate, hoping it would deter anyone who tried to come in. But the next day, the gate was open, the pole knocked over. One of her roommates had heard a noise the night before, but hadn't checked it out. Lacey knew then that she hadn't been paranoid, that someone had been there. The days turned into weeks, and Lacey tried to move on. But the feeling of being watched never went away. Sometimes, at night, she would feel the presence of someone just outside her window, as if someone was out there on the other side of the glass, watching. Other times, she would see a man out of the corner of her eye, but when she turned, no one would be there. Lacey started to vary her routine to take different routes when she ran, but the fear was always there, lurking in the back of her mind. And then she saw the news. They had caught the baseline killer, an African-American man. Lacey felt a wave of relief wash over her, but it was followed by a wave of fear. Had she narrowly escaped him? Had he been the one in her neighbor's backyard? Lacey would never know for sure, but she knew that her encounter that night changed her. She learned to always trust her instincts, to never ignore the feeling of being watched. And she learned that the scariest monsters are the ones that are real, the ones that walk among us. The baseline killer took the lives of at least 9 women, leaving a trail of terror in his wake. And even though he's been caught, his legacy lives on, a reminder of the evil that exists in the world. She was just grateful that she wasn't his next victim, that she got away. But Lacey knew that she would always look over her shoulder, always wonder if it could have been her. As we close the case on this episode of Mystery Files, remember that some secrets are meant to be uncovered, while others may forever remain hidden in the shadows. Join us next time as we delve deeper into the unknown, unearthing the stories that keep us questioning and exploring the mysteries that surround us. Until then, stay curious and keep searching for the truth.